Booktube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my weekly reads for May the 11th through the 17th. So my weekly reads videos every week, if you are new to my channel, is I talk about all the books that I finished this week. I let you guys know what I'm currently reading. I talk about a little book haul, my crafting, and some real life stuff. But this week we're going to switch things up just a tiny bit because I want to end on a high note. And not on a low note. So I'm going to share some real life stuff with you guys first, and I'm going to keep it very brief because I don't want to talk about it a lot right now. Let's put it that way. But I've been keeping you guys updated on what's been going on with my dad. And so if you're new, essentially at the end of February, he was diagnosed with cancer. He has bladder and kidney cancer. And he's been having treatments for the bladder cancer, and then at the end of April he had his kidney removed. Before I went on my trip to Boston last weekend, on the Tuesday before I left, they went to go see the oncologist, him and Mom. And they didn't tell me until I got home because my mom wanted me to enjoy my trip. So we found out that when they biopsied his kidney that they took out, that the cancer is more aggressive than they anticipated. And the tumor was bigger than they originally saw. So it's my assumption is, without knowing too much, is that it's grown from the time it was seen on the scan to now, essentially. So I'm terrified. He is having some more tests done. He had a bone scan this week, and he has a CT scan, I think, next week. And then probably the week after that, they find out from the oncologist what's the prognosis and what they're going to be doing. They did talk chemotherapy, which is probably going to be a thing. They're checking to see if it's spread into lymph nodes or into any other, I guess, surrounding organs. I don't know. So, yeah. So I just wanted to mention that quick, because I've been kind of updating you guys. That's why. He just turned 70 yesterday, or on Thursday. So, if you don't mind, please keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and, you know, let's just hope they're being extra I don't know. My mom's terrified, I'm terrified, you know, my brother is upset. You know, I'm already an emotional person to begin with, and I am a worrier by nature, so I will keep you guys updated as things change and things like that, and let you know. But just like I said, I just wanted to mention it off the bat real quick. Nothing is happening right now. You know, like nothing. He's doing well. Like he's got his appetite back now after surgery. I was talking to him last weekend, and he said finally he's got his taste buds back. For anyone else who has had major surgery where you've had to have anesthetic, I know oftentimes it can take some time for your taste buds. It's weird how anesthetic works on your taste buds. And he's now got like an appetite back again, which he didn't have for a while. He's in great spirits. You know, we are just trying to not think about it right now. And we're not going to invent worry until we know we've got something to worry about. But sometimes that's easier to say than it is to actually do. I was at the dollar store tonight, and I had to pick up his birthday card because we're going out tomorrow. I got teary-eyed looking at the birthday cards. And I'm looking at all these sappy "to your father" birthday cards, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I have never in my life gotten my father a sappy birthday card. So I got him a funny one. Which is what we do. But yeah, so that is that. I just wanted to mention it right off the bat. Thank you for listening. Again, I'll keep you guys updated as we go, but if you could just keep us in your thoughts and prayers, that would be great. Other quick life stuff, since I'm already talking about it. It's going to be a bit of a busier weekend, tomorrow at least. On Saturday, we have to take Goran to the vet in the morning. Nothing's wrong with him. It's his wellness checkup, as they're calling it. And then, like I said, we're going out with my parents. We're taking them to brunch for Dad's birthday. And then Mom and I are going to go to bingo, because I figured might as well do that while we're already kind of out and about. And then Sunday and Monday I have to relax because it is Victoria Day long weekend here in Canada. Yay! I am, of course, filming this Friday night, if you're wondering why you're watching it on Saturday and hearing me talk like as if Saturday is tomorrow. So I've got 3 days off. I'm off on Monday as well, which is super exciting. I am really glad about that. I kind of need the mental break. And yeah, so that is kind of what's been going on. Oh, and of course, it's Create Your Own Readathon weekend, you guys. Yay! So I will be vlogging all weekend too. So that vlog will go up on Tuesday. And oh, I just got a, a pop-up message from my friends. So yeah, so all that being said, let's jump into all the books that I read this week, guys. I finished 7 books. Now, my last weekly reads video I think I filmed it on Wednesday night before I went away. This one kind of doesn't really, like I originally said that it would include like Thursday and Friday, but it actually kind of doesn't because I didn't finish any books on Thursday or Friday. So this kind of worked out well. So the books that I finished over the last 7 days. The first one was Dearest Clementine by Lex Martin. This is a new adult contemporary romance. Again, I define new adult as an age group. It's not a genre. Just my own little thing. This is book number 1 in the Dearest series. This was published originally in 2014. Average rating on Goodreads of 4.11 stars. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. I read this one for Romanceopoly, for the College Row, I think was the space on the Monopoly board. It was essentially to read a new adult college romance, and this one takes place in a college setting. But I really enjoyed it because I think one of the big hallmarks of new adult romance or new adult books is how explicit they can end up being. This one was not. It does go there, like you do get adult content, but I have read other new adult where they would border on erotica. That's how erotic they actually are. This one was not that bad. So this is the story of Clementine and Gavin. And Clementine had a few incidences that happened to her in, earlier in her college career. She is now, I believe, she's in her 3rd or 4th year of college. And she is trying to find herself, essentially. It's a coming of age story of sorts. And she's kind of stayed away from guys. She's had some very, very bad experiences with guys, one including a teacher, like a student-teacher kind of a relationship. And she falls for a guy who is now the resident advisor in the old dorm that she used to be in. He's not her resident advisor because they're the same age, but he used to be in her dorm. And she's actually a published indie YA author, which I thought was kind of fun. That this main character, who's only like 21 years old, is this, YA author, which I thought was pretty cool. And she uses a pen name, and she's kept completely under the radar. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the story. There is a mystery in this story involving a girl who's gone missing on campus. So her and Gavin are kind of trying to figure that out. Like I said, the first in the series, I definitely want to read the next 2 because I really did enjoy this one. In execution, I do not have an issue with new adult books. They are just as good as any other books. I would never snub them because they're new adult. I have an issue with the way that they are categorized because I just don't feel that it is a genre. Same as YA. YA is not a genre. YA is an age group. So that's my only qualm with that. And I keep going on about it every time, and I do apologize, you guys. It just bothers me. The next book that I finished was The Help by Kathryn Stockett. This is, of course, a historical fiction novel. This was narrated on audio by 4 different narrators. Jenna Lama, Bahini Turpin, Octavia Spencer, and Cassandra Campbell. This was published originally in 2009. Average rating of 4.46 stars on Goodreads. Guys, I gave this one 4 stars. This is my second read of this book. The first time I read it, I was not on Goodreads or anything at all like that. But I had read it, I think, when it was published. No, I read it the year the movie came out. So when did I say this was published? 2009? I think the movie came out in 2011, which is maybe when I read it. I loved this. I absolutely loved it. If you guys have already read this one and you want to do a reread of it, I do recommend seeing if your library has it on audio. It's fabulous on audio. The 4 different narrators are great. So you've got one narrator who is, oh my gosh, what's her name? I want to say it's Cricket, but it's not Cricket. What did they call her? Eugenia is her real name, but they gave her a nickname that she goes by, and now it's completely escaping me. You guys are all going to post it in the comments below. I know you are. But we've got her, someone's narrating for her, because the different chapters are told in different voices. We've got, and then we've got 2 people who are narrating for 2 of the different maids. And then we've got a fourth narrator who actually narrates just one chapter, and it's at some big like charity event that they go to. I had forgotten a lot of things that happen in this book. I mean, I remembered the main story, which is about our main girl, Eugenia, who is wanting to write this book about what it's like being a maid in Mississippi in the 1960s. I mean, this is very dangerous, you know, like, let's not, you know, make light of it, because it is, and they discuss that in the book. It was amazing. If you have never read The Help, but you've seen the movie, I highly recommend that you go ahead and read the book, because it is so absolutely fantastic. You fall in love with all these characters. What I really liked about it when I finished it, because I listened to it on my 2-day drive, like my drive down to New Hampshire and my drive back last weekend, is that it's almost left a little bit open-ended. Like, not everything is tied up in a little bow, which I really appreciate. A lot of times that really bothers me when they leave things hanging, but in this case it works so well for the story. I really, really loved it. If you love historical romance, if you love historical fiction, because I am a huge fan of historical fiction, highly recommend this one. It's an older book. You should be able to get your hands on it, no problem. And if you haven't seen the movie either, watch the movie, because the movie is fantastic. Octavia Spencer's in the movie. The main character is played by Emma Stone. I think it's Emma Stone. And it's so funny because as I was listening to this being narrated, like as I was listening to this book, I couldn't help but picture Emma Stone in that main character role. Absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend this one. The next book that I finished was The Black Sheep by Carolyn Andrews. This is another contemporary romance novel. It is Harlequin Temptation number 653. Published originally in 1997. Average rating of 3.33 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3 stars. I read this one for my 40 Years of Harlequin project. I liked it. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything absolutely spectacular. It was an atypical kind of Harlequin temptation type romance of the time period. It was about a gentleman by the name of Nick and a woman by the name of Andy. And she is a private investigator. And she has been tasked with delivering Nick's niece to him. Both of her parents have passed away, so this little girl is an orphan, and she is now going to be taken care of by her uncle. But, you know, they kind of don't know the uncle from, like, a hole in the wall, so Andy agrees to travel with the girl and spend a few weeks with him until the girl kind of gets acclimated to him, and, you know, they kind of get to know each other a bit more and things like that. So at the very beginning of this book starts out with so much action. And the little girl is almost kidnapped because she's heir to quite a large fortune. So, of course, people kind of want to get their hands on her. And the story goes from there. Nick's a former military guy, and like I said, Andy's a private investigator. There is quite a bit of action in this book. I mean, the story moved, but it wasn't terribly memorable. If you come across it at a used bookstore, go ahead and pick it up. But don't rush out to read it, essentially. But it still was quite enjoyable. The next one that I read was Christie and the Secret of Susan by, of course, Ann M. Martin. Middle grade fiction. This was Babysitter's Club book number 32. Published originally in 1990. Average rating of 3.58 stars on Goodreads. I gave this one 3.5 stars. Now, after I read this one, I did a lot of, I looked a lot at other people's reviews on Goodreads. The premise of this story is that Christie begins a full-time babysitting job, like a few times a week, for this little girl by the name of Susan. And Susan is autistic. And, you know, Christie kind of wants to change her in a way. She thinks that, you know, because the parents are going to be sending her away to this special school, that if Christie can just help this girl make friends and help her show her parents that she's normal, quote unquote normal, like everybody else, then they won't send her away to school. But of course, Christie quickly, you know, realizes towards the end that that's not the way these things work, unfortunately. So I read a lot of reviews on this book on Goodreads, and a lot of people were bashing it, saying, how stupid is she? You know, how does she think that she can do this? And you know what? I have to think that it was done well, because you got to remember, this was written in 1990, so not as much was known about being autistic as it is now. It's a lot more prevalent in the culture, you know, being on the spectrum, you know, it's you hear about it in the news all the time and things like that. And I think even if you personally don't know somebody who's autistic, you still do know a lot about it. The other thing is that Christie is 13 years old. She's a 13-year-old girl who just wants to see this little girl not be, quote-unquote, sent away to a school. you know, like sent away from her parents, sent away from her family. And, you know, I was a little hesitant going into this one because I have not reread this one since I was about 13 or 14 years old. And I appreciated what Christie was trying to do, you know. You're talking about it from a different standpoint as an adult reading a book who knows something, who knows a lot more about autism than a 13-year-old would have known in 1990. Do you know what I mean? It's not like she could have gone on the internet and Google searched it and, you know, found out that this is the situation. These are, you know, because there's another little boy in her school, like in her middle school that Christie goes to, who's in the special needs class, who's also autistic, but he talks. So, I mean, there's different levels of it, you know what I mean? But of course, she doesn't know that. She just thinks that Susan just needs to try a little harder or what have you. So for that reason, I kind of really appreciate it, and I think it was well written for what it was and for the time it was. If it were written now, it would be different, right? But we can't base things like this on now, on the way we think now, because it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So yeah, I did enjoy this one. You know, I thought it was really interesting, and I really appreciated that that the author tackled this kind of a situation and this kind of, you know, a storyline, and I really did like it. The next one that I finished for something completely different was Her Guilty Secret by Claire Connolly. This is an erotic novel. It is book number 1 in the Guilty as Sin series, Harlequin Dare number 49. This was originally published in 2019, so this is a brand new book that just came out this year. Average rating of 3.73 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. I liked this one. I liked the writing in this one. I liked the plot line to a point. Excuse me. My biggest issue with this book, sorry, I've got the hiccups, you guys, was that the relationship for our two main characters, Olivia and Connor, was a student and a teacher. Don't like that. Especially when you're talking about a very explicit adult relationship. You know, he could say all kinds of nice things to her, that he, you know, thinks she's this and thinks she's that. But, you know, he holds a lot of power over her. He's her teacher. He could make or break her university career. She is not young, though. She is like, you know, last year of university or law school. She's in law school. So she's not a kid. She's like in her early 20s, and he's about 10 years older than her. So I don't like these books that have that kind of a power shift. That was my big issue with it. You know, if the relationship could have been different, if they could have been colleagues or something like that, little different. But I'm not a huge fan of the power dynamic kind of an idea. Now, outside of that, the book itself was quite enjoyable. I liked both Olivia and Connor as characters. They were both really, really interesting, very interesting backstories. And the plot line itself of, you know, essentially her going from this goody two-shoes to this, you know, kind of vixen, if you will. It was reminiscent to me in that aspect of 50 Shades of Grey, in a way. Not saying I did not enjoy that book at all, like 50 Shades, not a fan. But this one was so much better done. I think it was far better written, let's put it that way. But this is it's an erotic novel. This is very, very spicy, very, very adult. A lot of swearing in this one as well. But the one thing I wanted to share with you guys, if you'll just give me a second, is that when I started reading this book, I don't know about you guys, but I always like to read the dedication page because I think that sometimes they can be a lot of fun or really poignant or anything at all like that. And the one for this one just honestly kind of made me laugh. So I wanted to share it with you guys, if you do not mind. So, dedication, here we go. So this is what it says. For Elle Woods and Legally Blonde, without whom I might never have enrolled in a law degree and had my own inappropriate crush on a lecturer. I thought that was adorable. I mean, all that aside of what I just said about the whole teacher-student dynamic relationship, having a crush on a teacher is a completely different ballgame than actually sleeping with said teacher. But yeah, I just want to share that with you guys because I thought it was super duper adorable. So anyway, the next book that I finished was Whispering Rock by Robin Carr. This is a contemporary romance novel. It is book number 3 in the Virgin River series, narrated on audio by Therese Plummer, published originally in 2007. Average rating of 4.19 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. I am still enjoying this series, the Virgin River series, but these are still by far not my favorites by Robin Carr. Her new books I am loving, but these books, my issue with these ones are the way, not that the women are treated badly, because they are not treated badly at all. But it's the way they are treated almost like property, I find. That a lot of these are our women. That kind of an idea is prevalent throughout these books. What I do love about Robin Carr's writing is how her stories take on, in a way, an almost soap opera kind of feel. And I don't mean that because they're high dramatic or, somebody has an evil twin that nobody else knows about. Not that kind of soap opera, but by maybe more episodic is the word I'm looking for, where each book melds truly into the next book. That you get these story arcs that weave through 2 or 3 books. And, you're seeing these characters' lives, not just a passing glance at them, as they meet other characters in a bar or in a restaurant or pass each other on the street. But you are truly getting into these characters' lives as several stories progress. And I love that. And she is still doing that with her books now, like the Sullivan's Crossing series. She does that in as well. And I think it's fabulous. So this story is about Bree and Mike. And you met Bree and Mike in previous books. And Bree is the victim of a sexual assault, a very brutal sexual assault. And Mike is a former police officer who was shot and almost killed in the line of duty. And the two of them come to Virgin River. She is the sister of, I think it's Jack, which is the character from the first book. And Mike is Jack's best friend. So the relationship, of course, blooms between the two of them. But you're also getting stuff on the characters from the first book and the second book. So like I said, very episodic in that way as you're following these characters throughout their story. Absolutely love that. The last book that I finished this week was Head Over Heels by Jill Shalvis. This is another contemporary romance novel. Book number 3 in the Lucky Harbor series. This one was narrated on audio by Suella El Attar. Published originally in 2011. Average rating of 4.15 stars on Goodreads. I gave this one 3.5 stars. This was not my favorite book by Jill Shalvis. Excuse me, not my favorite book in the Lucky Harbor series, but still highly enjoyable. This is the story of the third sister, because it's the third book, but there are many more books in the Lucky Harbor series. Her name is Chloe, and this is her relationship with Sawyer, who is the local town cop. And so Chloe is a bit of a wild child. She suffers from very severe asthma, so she constantly has her inhaler on her. So for that reason, she kind of is pressing her limits, if you will, in the things she should and shouldn't be doing. She is into yoga. She likes to do, she wants to be like a spa, like someone who runs a spa. But on the other hand, she wants to go hang gliding. And, she wants to go cliff diving. And she has asthma. And it's the relationship, like I said, with her and Sawyer, who's the cop. Now, these two, over the course of the first 2 books, have kind of been dancing around each other. This is like an enemies to friends, or an enemies to lovers romance, where the two of them really didn't like each other for the first 2 books, or first couple books. He actually kept arresting her for doing things that she maybe shouldn't have been doing, like, not arresting, but like bringing her home, because she was going on private property, or she was caught drinking in public, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, it was really, really fun. Again, not my favorite Jill Shalvis, but a really good entry in this series. And actually, I recommend the entire Lucky Harbor series. I recommend anything by Jill Shalvis, because she is just super fantastic. So what am I currently reading, and kind of what do I hope to finish this week? The audiobook that I just started listening to today is actually Truth and Beard by Penny Reed. This is the first book in the Winston Brothers series. Now, this is not a book that is on my TBR. You're going to find that now. I'm going to be talking a lot about audiobooks that I did not talk about in my TBR. I've started moving away from adding a lot of audiobooks to my TBR and going more into physical or ebooks, but I'm leaving lots of room now to listen to audiobooks that I'm borrowing from the library. I can get through audiobooks relatively quickly, and there are a ton of them that I want to listen to, and my library is fabulous for audiobooks. So I have a whole bunch of books on hold. As they come in, as I can make room for them, I am going to listen to them. But yeah, this is one that came off of hold a couple weeks ago, and I think it's due in like 5 days, so I needed to get it read before it was returned, because there are people waiting on it. So, like I said, Truth or Beard by Penny Reed. I knew nothing about this story going into it. I've heard a lot about this author. I think she wrote the Knitting in the City series, which I really want to read too. But this one came off hold first. And it's about essentially a girl who you know, is back home and she meets back up with her childhood crush. That's about as far as I've gotten into it. I am less than an hour into this already. I just started it today. But yeah, I will keep you guys, or let you guys know my final thoughts on it next week when I get it done. The other book that I'm currently reading, which I am absolutely loving, is Wicked and the Wallflower by Sarah MacLean. This is book number 1 in the Bare-Knuckle Bastard series. This is, of course, a Regency romance, if you couldn't tell from that gorgeous cover. And this is about a girl by the name of Felicity who had a scandal happen to her, and she has kind of been shunned by society. She is now a wallflower. And her family, they also find out at the very beginning of the book, is now penniless. They have nothing. And they have been trying to force her to marry somebody with a lot of money to essentially save the family, or save the family fortune. Fill the family coffers, I think is the term that they were using in the book. And she meets up with a man by the name of Devil, who has not had the easiest upbringing, and he now lives in the Covent Garden area of London, which is a very downtrodden area during this time period. It is now, I read in the author's note at the back, Sarah MacLean said it's now a very up-and-coming area, but at the time, not the greatest place to be. And he strikes a deal with her in order to get her the Duke that she needs. But of course, there is going to be a romance between her and Devil. It is so, so good. I am... What page am I on? I'm about that far through it at this point. So my goal is to actually get this done on Saturday. That's my hope. This, right, that's where I am right now. But that little bookmark right there is where I'd like to finish by the end of tonight before I go to bed. So that's one of my goals when I am editing this video. I will do a little bit of reading too. So yes, thoroughly enjoying this one. The next one that I have to talk about, I did not show you guys last week because I was kind of in a bit of a rush doing that weekly reads, and I never opened my 40 Years of Harlequin Project book for this week. And that book is Wild West Wife by Susan Mallory. So this is my 1998 book, a Harlequin historical. This is a Montana Mavericks novel. What I loved, I've talked about the Montana Mavericks. They're still being written as a series. And these did cross the different categories. Like, they are mostly found in the special edition novels now, I think. But they also went into the historicals. So you're getting, like, the family history as well as the new stuff. So yeah, Susan Mallory. I have barely even started this one yet. So I do hope to get a good chunk of this read this weekend. I do have a good chunk of days at home to finish this one up. And last but not least, the other book that I'm currently reading, of course, is my Babysitter's Club book, and that is Claudia and the Great Search, of course, by Ann M. Martin, book number 33. In this book, Claudia believes that she's adopted, and she is trying to find her birth parents. So, kind of fun. I cannot remember how this one ends. Like, I know she's not adopted, but I know that she originally starts thinking this because she's so different from the rest of her family, and there are no baby pictures of her, but I cannot remember why the baby pictures aren't there. So I'm actually looking forward to remembering again how that one all worked out. So that is that. So before I get into my book haul, you guys, because I do have a little bit of a book haul, I do of course want to open my next week's 40 Years of Harlequin project. Is this upside down? No. 1999. So let's open this up and see. It's a thinner one. Let's see what we have here. Pop this open. I love that it's like opening a present every time. Oop. Looks like a sexy cover, you guys. Ooh, good. Okay. So it's a Harlequin Love and Laughter book. These were not out for very long. This imprint, if you will. These were romantic comedies, and I know that they were later replaced by the Harlequin Duet series, which I loved, which are now no more. And then those were replaced by the Harlequin Flipside series, which are also now no more. So I'm thoroughly disappointed, Harlequin. We need another rom-com series. Another rom-com imprint, I think, would be awesome. So yeah, so the Love and Laughter. This is His Bodyguard by Lois Greeman. Looks very sexy, doesn't it? Obviously a cowboy, judging by the cowboy hat right up there. So let's see what it says. All her life, Brianna O'Shea had dreamed of being a cop. So she set out to prove herself, and Nathan Fox's case is the perfect opportunity. The last thing Nathan wants is a bodyguard, so he hires petite, curvaceous, gorgeous Brianna. He thinks having this sweet bundle of fluff guard his body day and night is a definite perk. Except Nathan learns that the threats against his life are real, and that Brianna is more than capable of taking care of herself and him. While Brianna is saving his life, she's also stealing his heart. How can a determined ladies' man like Nathan help convince her to make their partnership permanent? Oh, I love it. It sounds adorable. Oh, this is going to be fun. This one will be really, really fun. So I'll let you guys know more about this one next week. So on to the book haul. Excuse me while I reach down and grab them. So there was a video posted last Friday on my channel of me and Steve showing off the books that I bought at the, or that we got at the thrift store that we went to, or the used bookstore that we went to, I should say. So I've already seen that, or I've already shown that on the channel, so that will be linked in the description box below if you haven't seen it yet. But then on Friday night, that night when I got back to the hotel to meet up with my friend Lynn, we went for supper. And right across the street from where we had dinner was a Savers. And in the States, for my Canadian friends, a Savers is essentially a Value Village. It's just got a different name in the States. And I bought 5 books, so I thought I would show them to you guys. So the first book that I got was The River House by Carla Neggers. This is part of the Swift River Valley series. These were all in awesome, awesome condition, except for these stickers. My Value Village, or the Value Villages, don't put these on here, Savers. So, you know, what's up with that? Now I gotta peel off this big ugly sticker, but whatever. So I got this one, a contemporary, of course. Another contemporary romance I got was True to You by Jennifer Ryan. This is part of the Montana Heat series. This one looks really good, again, in really, really great condition, so looking forward to that one. Sheila Roberts, Welcome to Moonlight Harbor. I believe this is the first book in the Moonlight Harbor series. Yes, return to the brand new series set on the charming Washington coast. So this one should be wonderful. Look at that gorgeous cover, you guys, and the moon way up there. Oh, I think that's so pretty. And then I got a couple of historicals, both of them by the amazing Julia Quinn, and both are books that I had not heard of before, so I am super stoked about this. So the first one is 10 Things I Love About You by Julia Quinn. Look at that cover, isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I just think it's absolutely lovely. So yeah. New York Times bestselling author Julia Quinn is truly our contemporary Jane Austen. I kind of like that. So yeah, so that one looks really good. And then the last one is What Happens in London, also by Julia Quinn. I believe these are standalone novels. I do not think these are part of series, but yeah. So these should be really, really good. So I'm looking forward to those. So that's my book haul. Not terribly exciting, but I did want to show you a couple of the other things that I bought when I was away, or got while I was away, I should say. You know, kind of to round this out just a little bit. So while I was in Salem, I got a t-shirt that said Salem, Massachusetts on it. I also went to a store called Witch City Wicks, and I will leave a link to them in the description box below. You can buy from them online. So I bought these, and they're candle melts, or they're wax melts, I should say. So you would use them in like a wax burner, and this one is called Salem, and this is supposed to smell like Salem in the fall. So like the leaves and, oh guys, it smells absolutely amazing. Oh, I love them. I absolutely love them. So I got that. We cannot burn candles here in the house, in the apartment, because of Gordon's asthma. So the smoke bothers him. So the candle melts, or the wax melts, work really well. So I got that. Oh, I also got a mug from Witch City Wicks, but it's in the cupboard right now. So I got that. Then when I went to the festival, to the New Hampshire Sheep and Wool Festival, I didn't actually buy anything while I was there. But I had bought this ahead of time and picked it up while I was there. And this is from Fiber Stash Dye Works. I will leave a link to them in the description box below as well. This colorway you cannot buy, this yarn colorway you cannot buy anymore. This was done exclusively. She made a very few number of these. It is called All My Heart, and it was all the proceeds for this went to my best friend Brandy when her daughter had open heart surgery a couple months ago, and she is doing fantastic. But of course I had to support and get pretty yarn, so I got this, and it's a set because it comes with, these are earrings, you guys. Can you see the knit stitches? These are actually like woodcut. Isn't that awesome? So I will wear them next time, but I wanted to show them to you guys. So yeah, so that's what I bought at the festival. I also got a pom-pom I'll show you guys in just a minute. And then I got a couple little things in here from one of my other best friend, Mandy. Some Krispy Kreme flavored Jelly Bellies. I love Jelly Bellies. But she handmade me a bag, you guys, and I had to show it to you. Isn't that lovely? She quilted this, or made the bag, but isn't it beautiful? I love the fabric. I love paisley print. But do you see, it's got a llama, and it says Namaste. I just think that's adorable. So if you guys watched my, what's in the front here? Oh, cool. temporary tattoo. Who doesn't love a temporary tattoo? If you guys watched my Summer Romance Book Bingo like kickoff video, I mentioned that one of the prizes is going to be a tote bag that my friend Mandy is going to make. So it's not going to look like this. It's just going to be a typical tote bag. But this is what I'm talking about having something printed on it. So yeah, isn't that adorable? I absolutely love it. So my friends are far too good to me, honestly. Far, far, far too good to me. So yeah, so those are just some of the things that I got. So last but not least, let's get into the crafting and then I will let you guys go. So the thing that I have been working on, well, no, not the most. So this is over the last couple weeks because I did not show you guys my hat last week. So living in my Australian animals bag that I love so much is the hat that I am almost done. I should actually have this done next week, you guys. I'm very excited. So there's my hat. It doesn't look terribly interesting right now. There's where I was the last time I showed you guys, where the watermelon is. So I've gotten all that done. So I have about 3 more inches to do. I want this to be a little bit floppy. So I will embarrass myself and put this on my head. It's a little big. I wanted it to be just a little bit tighter, like around here, but ignore the string in my face. But I think it fits quite well. So as you can see, I'm almost like at the crown, but I still want to do another couple more inches because like I said, I want it just a little bit floppy in the back. But I really, really love the patterning. The stitch count that I used is from the Sockhead hat, which I will link below. And the pattern that I used, I actually borrowed from a sock pattern. And this is the Blueberry Waffles pattern. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry where you knit 2 rows and then knit 2, purl 2. So that's how that goes. And I really, really love it. So the other thing that the other thing that I bought at the festival was a pom-pom. This is a fake raccoon fuzzy pom-pom. So it's all fluffy and stuff. But check this out, you guys. Is that not perfect? This is exactly the color I wanted. I wanted to pull the shots of pink that are in this hat. So this is going to be the pom-pom on the top of the hat. Is that not super fantastic? I love it. I mean, in the middle of a cold Canadian winter, walking down the street wearing a bright yellow hat with a bright pink pom-pom, how awesome is that? I am totally going to get noticed. Absolutely. So yeah, so I am loving that. And like I said, I should have that done next week. And then I think I'm going to be casting on another pair of socks because I kind of miss knitting socks. Actually, I have to knit a hat for my brother and sister-in-law. Like knit them each a hat. They're going to Disney in August. And I guess they have one night where they do a dress up. And my brother is going as, or no, my niece is going as Cinderella. My nephew they're going to dress him up like Prince Charming. He's 2. It'll be adorable. And my brother and sister-in-law are going to go as 2 of Cinderella's mice. Jack and I don't remember the other one. One wears a green hat, one wears a red hat. I can't remember their names, but you guys know who. If you're Disney people, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So they will be dressing up. So I have to knit them hats. I really should get on that next, maybe. And then the other thing I've been working on is my sweater, living in my big sweater bag. This is Uncomplicated by Alicia Plummer. It does not look like I've gotten a lot of work done on this over the last few weeks, but when the yarn is this thin, it's a lot of work. I've added about 4 or 5 inches to this sweater. So let me hold this up so I can show you guys. So that's where I was the last time I showed you, and that's how much I've gotten done over about the last week or so. So yeah, I've added a good number of inches on that. I am at just over 9 inches, and I have to go to 18. So I've still got a fair ways to go on the body. So as you can see, it is a pullover, and it's got kind of a scooped neck, which I really, really like. And this yarn is a tweed yarn, and it is Knit Picks Stroll Tweed in the colorway called Garnet. I think it looks like a giant strawberry because of the tweedy bits in here, which I absolutely love. And it's going to be long sleeve. It's meant to have a little pocket on it, but I think I might omit the pocket and just do just a plain old pullover. So yeah, so I'm really, really liking this one. I think it's going to look awesome. And I should have it done by the fall of 2020 or 2021. No, I should get it done before that. But I have not cast on anything new since I finished that other sweater last week. I thought about it, but I'm like, no, let's get at least one more sweater off the needles before we cast on something else. And then the last thing I want to show you guys crafting-wise is my cross stitch. So this is my In Bulk cross stitch pattern by the Witchy Stitcher. One of the Pagan Sabbats. So that's as far as I am. I think the last time I showed you guys, I was just starting the corn dolly. So I'm almost finished her, and I'm adding in, there's some grass down here. And then over here behind this eye will be a candle. And then I have a little bit of back stitching to do on it, but then I should be done. So I am really enjoying this. I'd like to get this done this weekend, but we shall see. After tomorrow, like after Saturday, Saturday's going to be my busy day, I'll have 2 days of downtime, which will be great. So I'm hoping to get a lot of stitching done during that time period. So yeah, so that is it for my crafting and stuff, guys. I already talked about the real life stuff first, so thank you very much for listening to that. Like I already said, this is the Create Your Own Readathon weekend, so if you are participating, please let me know. I will go and open that thread now. That thread should already be open by the time you guys see this. I do apologize for being late on that. But go ahead and post and let us know that you're participating. And yeah, until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.